You know the spiel. If you like what you see, please be sure to do me a little favor and click the subscribe button and hit that little notification bell so you can be alerted when I release my next video. What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome to Workplace Worth Academy, the place for job seekers and wealth builders seeking to build lifelong skills in career and money. If we haven't met, that's okay. My name is Jenny Lagulo, and I'm a career expert and educator. Today, we are talking about how to detect a super sketch job posting online and why some of us fall victim into these job scams. Now, be sure to stay until the end of the video. I am offering you guys a little something, so please be sure to stay tuned to the end of this video. I will do a little announcement, and I'm excited to share this with you guys. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, job postings that are fake, like, I know better. And to be real, I think a lot of people fall victim into these false job postings. And that's because there's just so many of them, and sometimes they're kind of hard to detect. You know, if you are on the job market for a certain amount of weeks, maybe months, you're feeling the burn. You're feeling, exhausted from all these interviews that you're going. Maybe you're landing some phone screens. So you're expending a lot of energy and you're looking for a win. And this is where I think a lot of us kind of find an email that's just kind of landed on our lap, and we're like, whoa, like, this is a huge number for salary. I just wanted to say, like, I'm here to help you navigate these job postings so you know what to look out for when you're feeling like something is sus. A lot of fraudulent job postings are on the rise, considering the fact that a lot of us do job applications online. You no longer go to a company and hand out a physical resume. Everything's done online. So it makes sense why there is an increase of bogus job calls. I just wanted to also reinforce that there's two things that are at stake for you when you encounter a job posting. One is you are, at risk of having your identity stolen from you. So identity theft is huge when you are giving out personal information. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later, but that is something at risk for you. And number two is just the safety of your well-being in your family and your household. There's some activities where you may be involved in money laundering. So I know it sounds insane, but it does happen. And I just want it to be that person that rings that little alarm and say, hey, being knowledgeable in this topic is super beneficial. If you are on the job market every day, especially if you're using sites like Indeed, Google, and you're just sending out your email like hotcakes, as you should know that you need to be careful, especially if it is someone you've never come in contact with before. So really, my purpose here is to talk about the 6 ways to really open up your eyes and decode these false or fraudulent job postings so that you can move forward, save your energy, save your time, and not fall into this trap. Because the only thing fake in your life should be magnetic lashes. First thing that should sound some kind of alarm for you is if they promise rapid growth straight from the beginning. This can look different depending on the job call or the job posting, but it could say like, hey, you'll have your own branch or your own marketing team within the year, or promotions, within 2-3 months. These are really meant to drive your emotions. There are a lot of empty promises made up front. This is most likely a fraudulent or bogus job posting. You need to be careful because I've received actually multiple emails, I think in the past year, maybe 1 or 2, and it promises me, it's like, hey, Jenny, congrats on this offer. And you open up the email and, you see a number and it is a salary, and it's something ridiculous, like almost 25 to 50% more than what I'm making now. And it's very attractive and it's very appealing for you to want to pursue and respond to the email and see what this is about. But you need to be mindful that if you didn't apply for this job, you need to decode who do they work for. Which leads me to tip number 2. And if you can't find Any information about who sent you this email, I say right from the get-go, it is not worth your time. Typically with company emails, or even if it's through a staffing agency, they will have a signature at the bottom of their email, and it would say their name, maybe a phone number, an email address, and a link to their website. And I highly recommend, instead of clicking that link, because those can also be bogus, it could be fake companies out there that you'll need to do your little more research to find out if it's true or not. So I highly recommend actually just hopping on a browser separately. Do not click links in an email like that, especially if you've never applied to that job before, and check out if they are legit. Now I'm gonna stop sharing this side of my screen and start sharing my computer screen so you guys can see how tip number 3 and 4 can come into play and why it's super important to use these practices. All right, guys, no makeup. You finally see me in my rare form. Let's apply to a couple of jobs, or let me at least look at some job postings with you guys so you can see some problem areas and things you need to be mindful of when you are on websites. All right, guys, so I just want to walk you guys through the first tip, which is you want to make sure it's a secure website. And you do this by selecting, there's this little lock button on the corner of the website link. And you just want to show that certificate. I like to do some digging, verify that it's actually tied to a company and that this is a secured website. And obviously, you don't have to look at the details fully, but I like to just kind of skim it, see, if it's registered and if it's safe for me to share my personal information. And this is super important if you are on broader job search forums like Indeed. Maybe you're on ZipRecruiter, which is famous for kind of leading you down a rabbit hole of other websites. Maybe it's the actual company website, which is good. That is a good indication that they are a legitimate business. But of course, you want to be sure that if it is with ZipRecruiter, that you are sharing that information with a third party. So it is no longer about you sharing information about an employer. There is a middleman, and that person is collecting information about you. You want to be mindful as well about the job descriptions listed in each job call. So if it's very vague and it says just submit your resume, I would honestly avoid those interactions. That is where they are really not focus on a specific candidate. It could just be because they're soliciting, personal information. So I would avoid those job calls and not submit in those areas. And again, these tend to happen on broader search forums or job forums like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and Google and Monster. I highly recommend using sites like LinkedIn, where they have validated the company, and it is so much easier now that you can direct apply and attach your resume and your cover letters to that application. Highly recommend utilizing LinkedIn. And tip number 5 is kind of a no-brainer, but I think a lot of us may feel compelled to follow because it seems like it's standard or it's protocol. And that's this idea that you have to submit or offer, a cash investment for a background check or a credit score check. And this can be really icky, and I think it can be scary because, again, you are kind of upfront sharing some information. So if you see, again, if that browser is not secured and, something looks a little fishy or kind of off, I would go ahead and do not send that information over. The fact that this company hasn't even reached out to you, maybe you haven't had a phone interview or in-person interview, and your research is not really adding up, I would proceed with caution and not share that vital information, that personal information, with anybody, especially if you're just typing it in and hitting submit. You don't know the back end, where that data is going. And this can be really scary because sometimes they can offer you a link to maybe a Google invite and then cancel last minute. So it feels like you were going to interview somebody and then, they'll switch gears. There's a lot of sketchy practices that scammers or hackers, whoever these groups of people are, they're awful, and they're banking on your desperate needs to find a job. And I just want the people who are watching this right now to be mindful, and I care about your financial and emotional well-being, and I would hate to see this happen to you. My last tip for you guys is if you're having a gut feeling that this is not legitimate, you should not pursue it. And I say this knowing that I know that is kind of banking on emotions, but something made you believe that this wasn't a true job posting or a true company that you're applying for, or that you've had some correspondence with via emails or texts or phone calls, voicemails, whatever it may be. Sometimes those exchanges can kind of rub you wrong. And, there are companies that do these practices and, maybe they don't have a formalized HR department, or, they're just a startup, but just be mindful that you need to practice precaution. It is your information. It is your household. It is your finances. These are big things for you. And especially someone who's starting out in college, you just want to land that first job, you need to be mindful. And there you have it, the 6 tips on uncovering bogus job calls or postings. And now I just want to share with you guys my big reveal or my announcement. And that is, if you haven't already and you're having trouble communicating with hiring managers or recruiters via email, you don't know where to start, you feel like you have a wall of text and you're constantly editing, I created something that will help you guys. It is a coffee snack email template, and it's a variety of little snacks that you can use in your emails that drive action from recruiters and keep things clear and simple. So it's very clear what you're communicating and what you do, and it also reveals passion. So if you need help writing emails, please be sure to check that out. You could just click the download on my YouTube channel About Me page, and I hope you check it out. And of course, if you like what you see here, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram for some behind the scenes stuff. And if you like the little template guide that I created for you guys, please be sure to give me a shout out on Instagram. Love to see how that's helping you email hiring managers and recruiters. Don't forget, guys, we all need time to glow up. Let's be bold and badass together. I'll see you guys in the next video.